over here. What's up, guys? We're back. I had some technical difficulties with the sound. I don't know why it was not working. The sound was not working earlier. Um, so none of you guys could hear what I was saying, but hopefully you guys can hear me now. I'm almost positive. I'm looking at the levels here and it's saying that my mic is on and that it's actually working this time. So, what's up, guys? Merry Christmas Eve. For you guys hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me on Christmas Eve. There's a lot of other things that you could be doing right now. And obviously, the first stream didn't really pop up right. So here we are again. But today is going to be kind of question and answer. So if there's any questions you guys have or you want to ask me, pop them into the comment section. I will read them off and I will answer as many questions as I can for the next couple minutes. But yeah, today's just going to be just a real chill stream. I'm not going to go into any crazy details of, mindset stuff. I did that yesterday. I actually talked about visualization and why that's so important. So we had basically a whole stream on like why visualization is important. And that was like a big thing. But just thinking about Christmas, man, like I think one of the big things for me as far as my faith is concerned, like Christmas is a huge holiday just because it's a celebration one of us remembering why we have salvation, like the birth of Jesus Christ. And I mean that's so special because without his birth, without him going through all the stuff that he did for us, right, we wouldn't be here. So it's just really sentimental. So for you guys that celebrate Christmas, awesome. If you don't celebrate Christmas, it's okay. You're in the right place still. So if you don't celebrate Christmas, what are the holidays? What's the holiday that you guys celebrate, and what's so special about it? You guys tell me. Tell me what's so special about the holidays. What is something that you guys are looking forward to this Christmas, or what's exciting about Christmas for you? I guess outside of all the gifts that you get, right? Um, what's it mean to you guys? So I have, if you guys want to put that in the comments, that'd be great. Someone asked me, what am I most grateful for? Um, what am I most grateful for? Honestly, my family. I think that my family is one of the things that I'm most grateful for. My wife, my daughter, and then also my brother, sister, my mom, my dad. Just being able to be closer to them. I moved back to Kentucky last year, so being able to have family around and be able to like fellowship with them is really cool, and just also friends as well has been really cool. So, Beast Man, what's up? He says, "Where do you see yourself in 10 years?" It's a good question. I see myself as a successful business owner, um, doing public speaking, not necessarily just motivational speaking, but public speaking, whether that's to big businesses, whether that's to companies, whether that's to athletes. But mainly, it's going to be. I feel like in 10 years, I'll be working with athletes, whether it's on a mainly on a mental level, like helping athletes perform better, but helping them correct any limiting beliefs they have and really help them to like helping them tune up their mental game. And then also, I mean, my main thing is helping lead them to Christ, like helping lead athletes to Christ, helping them compete. Um, Basically using the concept of faith over fear. That's where I see myself in 10 years. And really, honestly, maybe even coaching my daughter, you know, helping her overcome any mental battles that she might be dealing with, whether it's in sports or something else. So, uh, that is what I see. That's where I see myself in 10 years. And that's just kind of a glimpse into it, but not all the details. But yeah, running a big company, doing public speaking, helping other people overcome the mental struggles of performance. Who's my most impressive competitor? Who am I most impressed with? That's a good question. I feel like impressive. I'd say from just like a accomplishment standpoint, Noah Lyles is pretty impressive. I think some people like don't really like give Noah's props. Sometimes I don't either, but he's a really impressive competitor as far as being the American record holder in the 200, multiple world championships, Olympic gold medalist in the 100. I mean, can't knock the guy. Do you have any advice for the 60 meters? So this is a question from, I think it's Edvin. I think that's what it says. But it says, "What do you have any advice for 60 meters?" Okay, my advice for the 60 meters is, first of all, I would make sure that block start is right. I mean, you can't really, you have to set the blocks up correctly. You have to set the beginning of the race up correctly in the 60 meters. You don't have to get out first, but you do need to make sure that you're coming out at the right angles, especially in the 60, because if you mess up the beginning of the race, the race is too short for you to really have a mistake and mess up and still win, especially if you have really good competition. Um, so my advice would be really to focus in on the execution of covering ground and being aggressive in the first 10 meters of the race, and then um, transition earlier. So what I mean by transition earlier is, don't the dry phase is shorter in the 60 meters because it's a faster race. You want to get to acceleration quicker than you would in 100 meters. So um, the dry phase is going to be shorter. You're going to make the transition from your dry phase to your like acceleration a lot quicker. And then also, like, don't stress at the end of the 60. Like, you should run the 60 as if you're running the 100. You should be nice, smooth, and relaxed at 60 meters. And that's also not only going to help your 60, but it's also going to help your 100 too. And another question from Chris Nordy says, if you could design the perfect sprinter using traits from different athletes, whose start, top speed, and mindset would you choose? Wow. Okay, that's a really good question. I like that question, Chris. Thanks for that question, Chris. Okay, so if I could design the perfect sprinter using traits from different athletes, all right. So here's what I'll go. If I had to have traits from different athletes making the perfect sprinter, first of all, I would go Usain Bolt for just height. I mean, if we're talking about a person that could like use his speed and length to his advantage, like you have to be. He's the tallest, fastest sprinter there's ever been. So I would go. I would go Usain Bolt for like leg length, height. Right. And start, man. Okay, that's a hard one because I feel like whenever I think of start, everyone thinks of who has one of the fastest starts now, Christian Coleman. But I think of people like Maurice Green. I think of, um, man, even like Ben Johnson. That dude had an explosive start. It was a little bit different than like the start you see today, but it was very effective. But okay, let's just put it in perspective for most people listening. I'd probably go I'd probably go Christian Coleman as a start. He's a 60-meter world record holder. He obviously has a good start. Everyone knows that. So height Usain Bolt, start of Christian Coleman, top speed of I'm gonna say top speed of Bolt. I mean, you can't. Who else would you pick? If I had to pick top speed, I mean, he's been recorded as having the fastest top speed from 60 to 100 than anybody else. So, but if I had to pick someone else, maybe I'd pick a Tyson Gay. If you guys have seen Tyson Gay from 60 to 100, it's like he hits like he has like 3 gears. So if I had to pick a different athlete, it would be him. And then the mindset. I feel like it's hard not to pick Bolt again, only because, the mindset that you have to continue to win at that level over and over and over again is unparalleled. But I would go Justin Gatlin. The reason being is because this man had to sit out for a couple years, and he was getting, I mean, while everybody was getting beat by Bolt year after year after year, he at the very like at the end of his career, he won a world title in 2017, and I think he was one of the oldest, probably the oldest guy in the field. Came back after like getting beat year after year after year, and then beat the best ever, right? In his last meet of his career. So the mindset that you have to continue to do that over and over and over again, that's pretty incredible. So I'd pick Justin Gatlin as far as the mindset, because you have to be mentally strong to continue to like get knocked down, get beat over and over, and then come back stronger and like face your competition that's been beating you, right? Face your competition head on and win. So like That would be my pick for mindset. So that's a really good question, Chris. That's a dope question. Appreciate that. What sport would I play other than track? I would do basketball. Um, I interestingly enough, I played some pickleball, and pickleball is actually really fun. I know Beastman James, he's been in my ear about the pickleball game. I went to New York a couple months ago, and I played in a pickleball tournament. Not like a big tournament, guys. Like I'm not good. But I played pickleball in like a little recreational tournament for the first time. It was really fun. I could definitely see myself doing more pickleball than golf because I know a lot of people that are into sports. Whenever they retire, they go pick up some golf clubs. But I'd rather do pickleball. I feel like it's a little bit more active and it's actually super fun. It's low impact, so I would totally do that. But if I'm talking about sports, I haven't watched a lot of sports this year, but I love basketball. I do enjoy watching college football. It's super fun. But if I had to play something, it'd be pickleball. Yes. So super fun. Honestly, if you haven't watched any pickleball, like you should watch some of the tournaments online, like the big tournaments, because they're those guys are actually really good. Like it's kind of a difficult game to play. Your hand-eye coordination has to be on point, but like the pros when they do it, it's insane. All right. Someone says, man, this is a crazy name. Ajan Muzdala. Muzdila. Muzdala, I don't know, but it says, "What was going through your mind in the 2018 USATF 60-meter final?" Honestly, that I was gonna win. That no one was picking me, but like I was gonna win. That was my mindset. And that was this sucky thing about that is that the first gun got called back, and I had like the best start that I've ever had, and I was like super pumped about it. And it got called back, but I mean, I was just focused on winning, man. I was so excited from where I was at that point and how easy I was running the rounds, and I knew I was gonna run fast. And yeah, I just had that mentality of like I'm gonna win this. And obviously I got second, but I ran the third fastest time ever, so I can't complain. ENC Plays says, "How often do you take ice baths?" ENC, what's going on, man? I take ice baths probably about 2 to 3 times a week, just depending on how my body feels. And, there's always a point in your head, especially when you're doing ice baths or anything hard really, and you're not being policed or someone's not watching you, your brain will play tricks on you. Your brain will play tricks on you. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, but your brain will play tricks on you. In order to train your mind to do hard things, there's always like whenever you make a decision to do something, there's always a gap. There's like a period in time, and everyone experiences it where your mind is going to try to convince you that you shouldn't do it. So like for me, after the workout, I'm like, all right, I know I probably need to go get in the ice bath, but I'm thinking about how bad it's gonna feel and how it's gonna hurt. And so there's a split second and my mind's trying to convince me that I don't need it. It's like, oh, you don't need to do it today. You can do it tomorrow, or you could do some other form of recovery, right? And in that moment, right, this is a mental tip for you guys. If you want to increase your ability to do hard things and actually grow as an elite athlete or just get better as an athlete, from a mental standpoint, as soon as you have that thought where your brain tries to convince you not to do it, just take action and move into it. So like for me, I don't want to get in the ice tub, but in my head I'm having that conversation. And I'm like, nope, I just do it, right? I just jump in, like literally jump in the tub, bro. I do that probably 3 times a week. The official Zach, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? Like, good to see you in here. Good to see you. I can't wait till you're on campus next year. Says, how do you go about time trials? Let's say, the 60 meters to actual meet predictions. Well, here's what I'll tell you is that whenever you run a time trial in practice, it's gonna feel and be a lot different than the meet. At the end of the day, at practice, you're probably not gonna have nearly as much adrenaline as you would at the meet, and you know it's just gonna be a different atmosphere. And so what I would say is that whatever you run in practice, it can be a good indicator of what you might run at the meet, but also realize that if you feel like the time in practice was a little slow or you could have done better, the reality is that when you get to the meet, you're gonna have again, you're gonna have more adrenaline, you're gonna be more locked in, right? Your body is actually your mind is actually gonna put you in a place where it's ready to perform. Like I think people think that anxiety is a bad thing for them, and it's actually it's a really good thing. It's a really good thing because what it does is it's alerting your mind that it's time to like perform. It's time to do what we've been preparing to do this entire time. And so it's actually a really good thing for you if you know how to use it. But if you don't know how to use it, if you let it use you, then obviously it can lead to bad performances. But whenever you have that nervousness, that nervous tick, right? The anxiousness, right? It actually is prepping your body to do more. It's actually prepping your body to go faster than it's ever been before. So actually a really good thing. But as far as like the time trials, with 60 meters versus, actual predictions, most of the time, what you run at practice is going to be probably a little bit slower than what you would actually run at the meet. Okay. Um, what's a good diet for a sprinter? I did a whole podcast on the 5 pillars to recovery. So if you guys have not heard or listened to the 5 pillars of recovery, make sure you go check it out on YouTube. It's on YouTube, but it's also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can go listen to it. I specifically have a section in there where I talk about nutrition and diet and break down like how much carbs you can eat, how much carbs you should eat. I broke down some of the top proteins that I eat. It's a very, very good podcast. So definitely go check that out if you want to know more about diet of a sprinter. Chris Nordy says, what's your take on periodization? Do you think sprinters should focus on high volume, slower 80% runs in certain phases or maintain high quality work year round? I think that in the beginning, when you first start out, like when you first get into training, you should be doing some higher volume, slower stuff. And that's really just general prep to get you in shape because you can't go out and just start sprinting right away because you'll end up hurting yourself, or you'll sprint too early and you'll, peak out too early. And then when it comes to championship time, you won't be able to maintain that kind of form or speed. So I think early on you do the slower runs, you do the tempo runs, you build up lactic acid threshold, all that stuff, and then you go into the more quality sprint stuff later on in the season. And honestly, as far as periodization, I've never made a program. So like I'm not probably the person to ask that question to. I've done all the work, but for me, I don't write the programs. I just show up. I do the work, but I don't write the programs. Um, Emma says, how do you minimize the risk of injuries? I will tell you this, Emma. Um, I think a lot of times injuries come because athletes are under eating. They're not fueling their body properly. And so a lot of the times you'll have the same injury or you'll have the same nagging injury or you keep re-injuring yourself because either you're not recovering well. I think that's a big part of it. You're not recovering well. And a lot of that can do with not getting enough sleep. If you're not getting 8 hours of sleep, you're probably not recovering at the highest possible efficiency that you possibly can, okay? So 8 hours of sleep. The nutrition thing, most athletes undereat all the time. They undereat. And if you're going to practice and you're practicing really hard and then you're not eating enough food to refuel and actually repair the muscle fibers that you're tearing when you're training and just helping you to like filter out lactic acid. If you're not eating enough, mainly if you're not eating enough carbs and you're training for long hours, like if you're training for over an hour and a half to 3 hours a day and you're not eating enough carbs, you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel exhausted, and then you're going to take your tired and exhausted butt to practice and you're gonna put more work on tired and exhausted, and you're not gonna eat. You're gonna get so bogged down, and what happens is because your body is not repairing itself at a high level, and you're continuing to push yourself past your limits. That's how you get injuries. So honestly, a lot of it comes down to sleep and nutrition, and sometimes it's like you're just not eating enough. Maybe you just need to eat a little bit more, eat until you're satiated, and then go work out. And obviously, like, I'm not a nutritionist, so I would talk to someone about that. But I've been in that place where I've undereaten a lot, and because I've undereaten, I've either like my joints hurt or I have small things that are, popping up here and there. Okay, so I would definitely check with someone about that. Like, what's one cool thing, Emma? I know you asked about nutrition, and then you also asked about like how to stay healthy, and I bet you those two definitely correlate. What I would do, Emma, is I would find an app. There's tons of apps on your phone that you can download where you can track your food. So what I would do is I would literally track what you eat every day. There's like apps you can put in like, hey, I ate 2 eggs, blah, 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 blah. It will calculate how much protein, carbs, and fat that you're eating. And typically you can look at that, and then you can determine if you're eating or how you're eating, if you're under eating, what you need to increase, what you need to decrease. You could take that to someone that knows a little bit about nutrition. They can probably help you. Okay. Um, so yeah, I hope that helps. What's your favorite race that you've been in? I always love the Diamond Leagues. The Diamond Leagues are always fun. I love Prefontaine, one, because it's on home soil, and two, because I run really fast there every year. So that's probably like one of my favorites, although I haven't been able to compete in that in the last couple of years, but it's a really exciting and fun meet just because track and field is big in Eugene. But I mean, I love being overseas as well. I mean, I remember competing in Rome in 2018. That was a fantastic track meet. Um, I went to China last year. That was a great track meet. It was the first Diamond League of the year. That was super fun. Doha was very hot. I didn't place very well there, but it was a well put on me. Um, Waylon Williams says, describe the feeling of the first time you broke 10. Bro, wow. Okay, so I think the first time I broke 10 was actually at TCU. It was my junior year. It was the first track meet that we had at TCU that year outdoors. And I don't know, bro. Like, I feel like I wasn't like over the top excited about it because I knew I was gonna do it. Like, I just believed I was gonna do it. I was gonna get better, and I was always progressing every year. I'd run 10-0, and I was like, I'm gonna run 9 eventually. I just gotta keep working at it. So when I did it, I wasn't like going crazy. I just was like, this is what I've always seen myself do this a million times. And we talked about visualization yesterday, bro. Like, if you visualize it, your brain, your mind does not it can't your body can't tell the difference between you're doing it in real life and you doing it in your mind. So when you see yourself doing it in your mind over and over and over again, it's almost tuning your body like you would tune a car to like go fast. It's like tuning your body to do the same thing. So I'd already seen myself do it a million times, bro. So it wasn't like a crazy, out of body experience. I was just like excited about it, but I was like, this is just the beginning. Um, which track and field event is the most boring, Chris? Ah, man, most boring? It depends, man. If you're watching like a steeplechase or any long like a 10K, unless you're really invested in the athletes that are running, like it's very hard to watch sometimes. Okay. Um, how heavy do you train in the weight room? ENC plays like super heavy. Like yesterday, I did some rear foot elevated squats. I had 85 pounds in each hand. Okay. So it was heavy. And I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm telling you that that's what I do. But you need to modify your weights to whatever your body weight is and how strong you are. Don't try to go in there and lift the whole gym, but progress, right? So, excuse me, pick a weight that you are comfortable with and then increase by 5%, right? On the next set or next week, increase by 5%. And as you do that, you're going to get stronger. You don't need to go in and lift, the heaviest weight that you possibly can, struggle to do it because it's not helping you, it's only hurting you. So do what's comfortable first and then increase that by 5% the next week. Increase that by 5% again the next week and just keep getting stronger. And as you get stronger, you're going to be like, "Dang, I squatted 450. I started at 230, but now I'm squatting 450 or whatever it is, right?" But it's a slow progression. You don't get it overnight. Um All right. Emma, I'm gonna answer Emma's last question and I'm gonna hop off here, guys. It says, first of all, Emma, appreciate it. Thanks for asking the questions. I'm glad I could answer some of them for you. It says, do you take any supplements like creatine, magnesium, or others? I do take those. What I will tell you, Emma, is that uh, supplements are like the sprinkles on top, right? So I saw this video the other day and talked about nutrition is like a cupcake. The cupcake, the base of it is like your natural foods. You cannot replace your natural food. You gotta have food. You gotta eat. Like if you're trying to get creatine, you should eat steak because steak has creatine in it. You don't need to get a creatine supplement. Start with whole food first. That's the base, the foundation is the cake, right? Then on top of that, you got the icing, right? The icing is gonna be, some of the what am I trying to say? So the base is the whole foods, right? The icing, and then you've got the sprinkles, and I don't remember exactly the analogy, but the icing was a part of it, and then the sprinkles were all the supplements. But at the end of the day, like you're not just gonna eat the sprinkles, right? You got to have the cake, the icing, and then the sprinkles. So what I'm trying to say is that supplements come last. You can't fix poor nutrition with supplements. You can't fix injuries with supplements. You can't get faster with just doing supplements. You got to start at the base layer first, which comes with whole foods nutrition. Okay. Um, so yeah, that is it. That is all I'm going to answer for tonight, guys. You guys keep rolling in with these questions. We'll do a question and answer every single week. So next week, I will be streaming on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Probably Tuesday will be our question and answer day. And then Monday and Wednesday will be a little bit different. I'll go into some topics. But tomorrow, guys, is Christmas. So I want you guys to enjoy your families, enjoy your time, take a break, rest. Use tomorrow as rest because rest is super important if you're going to become an elite athlete. Okay. Um, yeah. So I wish you guys the best. I will see you guys here next week on Monday night at 6 p.m. You guys have a Merry Christmas. I will catch you later. I'm signing off. Peace.